Hello, my name is Jimmy, and this is the most exciting N vehicle from Hyundai yet, the 2022 Hyundai Elantra N. And it's better than the Veloster. It's better than the Kona. And there's a few reasons for that, which I'll explain in this entire video. If you don't already know, the N for Hyundais, well, it's basically like the M for BMW or AMG for Mercedes. They make their cars faster, more fun, and much more agile. We'll get to the driving bit, I promise, in a bit. But let's go over all the styling differences here before we go and do that. On the front end, it's completely different. This front bumper has larger openings for air because there's such a big engine underneath the hood. It needs to cool that down. And I really like that distinctive red stripe on the bottom as well. Moving to the side, that red stripe continues on all the way to the side skirts. As for the wheels and tires, well, it's a 19-inch wheel wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4Ss. Not just regular Pilot Sport 4s, Pilot Sport 4Ss. These amazing summer tires. They give this Elantra plenty of grip, which I will show you a little bit later. Moving to the side, we got distinctive creases on the door panels. It's very different. There's nothing out there that looks like this. And then around back, we got this kind of geometric type spoiler on the deck lid, LED taillights. We do have incandescent turn signals, not full LED, and two large exhaust tips on the bottom, which sound so good. I mean, overall, the Elantra, yes, it's very distinctive, but I don't think it's, all that crazy. The Civic Type R, well, the way that looks, it is quite out there. The new Civic Type R, the FL5, it's more tamed. This is kind of in between that, I think. It looks good without too much of that boy racer look with a big wing on the rear. This is still subtle enough for someone of my age to, well, still quite enjoy it. If we open up the trunk, it is just a regular sedan. There's 14.2 cubic feet in here, which is definitely smaller than the traditional hatchback, but it's actually still quite usable. And if you want, you can fold that rear seat down. The only thing is there is a little bit of scaffolding in between, and it's not a 60-40 split. While there are latches on both sides, it's a full rear bench that folds down to, well, allow you to put skinnier items through, but definitely not the biggest of items. All right, the rear seats of the Elantra N. I'm 5'11" and sitting upright, I'm just grazing the headliner. So I have enough room for myself and my knees are good. I can't really tuck my toes underneath the front seat as they are quite low, which is good for those up there, but not the greatest for, well, whoever's back here. The windows are a little bit smaller because of the sideline. It's a little bit taller than some may like, but I don't feel claustrophobic in here at all. I don't have heated seats and I don't have ventilation. I don't even have USB ports or even an armrest in the center. It's, well, quite bare back here, to be very honest. But I have plenty of space. And if you're using this for your child, well, here's a collect link on the driver's side. As you can see, plenty of space for an infant seat. Sliding this carrier in here is absolutely easy. No problems at all. As for a rear-facing convertible, this is a collect foof on the passenger side. Once again, no issues. Plenty of space for a convertible here. So yeah, the Elantra N is actually quite good as a family vehicle. In fact, there's a little bit more space in here than the Kona N, which makes it, well, a better family vehicle than that, if you believe it, in terms of practicality and space anyways. But let's head up to those front seats. All right, the front seats of the Elantra N. These buckets are so good. They are manually adjustable, so no electronics here, but that also means no motors underneath, which means that the seat is nice and low. I love that. They are a two-piece design, so the backrest does move. Very comfortable, and they're heated as well. The materials that's used in here, it's actually great. During this week, it's been kind of warm and cool, so I've been experiencing different weathers in it. Actually very comfortable in here. And I love the illuminated N logo. Very nice touch. Just like the M Sport seats that you get in the M3 and M4. Love that. That said, they are heated just like the steering wheel. So even on cooler days like today or colder weather, whatever it may be. It's very, very comfortable. This new Hyundai steering wheel looks great. I have all the buttons that I need and more that you may not need, but you definitely want. These N buttons here allow you to have N Custom 1 and N Custom 2. So you can set all the engine parameters, transmission, and a whole bunch more with these buttons. And there's an NGS button, the N Grin Shift. This allows you to have a 10 horsepower boost for 20 seconds. Good for, passing someone or showing off a little bit. You do get pretty big paddle shifters behind. There's actually not too bad. And then a full digital cluster. This digital cluster, in normal, eco, as well as sport mode, it looks like any other Hyundai cluster. It's not until you press that M mode where the cluster changes and it just looks, better. It has all the additional information that you really need, G meter, it's all there. It's, very feature rich. You don't have a heads-up display like the Kona N does, but I think that's fine because you're sitting so much lower in this. That cluster, it's so much more in your peripheral than the Kona. The Kona, you sit higher than this. So this, I think it's absolutely fine. The infotainment, it's canted towards the driver. So it's a very driver-centric type display. It works like any other Hyundai displays. It has your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, but you do have to plug it in. And there's a special N mode, so you can set all the different engine parameters in there, and you can see a lot of the gauges in there as well. I actually like this system quite a bit. And you still have some dedicated buttons on the bottom, including that volume knob. And you get a dual zone climate control, something you just don't get in the Kona. Also, something you don't get in the Kona, ambient lighting. There's a bunch of different colors you can choose from. It's subtle. It's not something that you really need, but hey, it's something that you get. Overall, the design of this, sure, you do have some cheaper materials on top, but everything that you need to touch, the wheel, the shifter, it all feels good. And you get a mechanical handbrake as well. So if you want to pull the e-brake for a little bit of that, drift action, you can. I think, for what it's worth, this interior, it's better than the Kona. And it's definitely better than the Veloster. This, like I said, is the best end product yet. Anyways, let's go for a drive and feel what this is like on the road. All right, on the road with the Elantra N. Underneath the hood, 2-liter turbocharged 4, 276 horsepower, 289 pound-feet of torque. Unless you press this NGS button, then you get 10 more horsepower in 20-second bursts, but it needs a 40-second cooldown, which, for most tracks actually could be quite useful. On those straights, you want to get ahead of someone, that could be your overboost button. It's very similar to like a Porsche, and I love that. What I will say is, it's actually quite comfortable. I'm in eco right now. The suspension is on soft. The, exhaust, it's kind of hushed down. Feels like a regular car. Yes, it's more firm than a regular one. The seats are a little bit harder, but for a vehicle like this, it's not bad at all. It's actually more comfortable than the Kona that I was just in. And it feels that way because, this does have a longer wheelbase, and it does help, especially over any expansion joints or anything like that. The vehicle just, it's able to settle a little bit more before the next set of wheels. So actually, it's a great commuter. However, when you're driving a Kona N, your everyday commute doesn't have to be boring. You press this N button, and everything is turned up. It's more fun. And you can floor it. Yeah, you can have a whole lot of fun in N mode. Not only is it louder, not only is it just more agile, and just it turns everything up. The steering is tighter, the suspension is tighter, and you get all the exhaust noise out back. It just makes this so much more enjoyable. Sure, it might be a little too firm for some, but there's an N Custom mode. I have N Custom 1 and N Custom 2. N Custom 1 is like, if I want to do a morning run where I don't want to wake up the neighbors, everything is turned up other than the exhaust. So I'm still under the radar. I'm not annoying anyone. And then there's N Custom 2, where I have the transmission on like a normal mode. So it's shifting up basically as soon as it can, but it's still loud out back. And you have all this customization for you right into this N mode. It's absolutely great. It doesn't tell you what you want. It gives you those options. Love it. I absolutely love it. Putting it back to regular N mode, and I can just floor it whenever I want, unless there's traffic in front of me, which there is, so I can't necessarily do that at this time. But it's so loud. It's just so much ambience, so much theater in this. I love it. I absolutely love this car. Do I love it more than the Kona? I think I do. The creature comforts in here just makes it easier to live with. I mean, the dual zone climate control is just one thing that I've had for a very long time now. Between me and my wife, she likes slightly warmer than I do, and I like it, well, currently I have it set to 18. She likes it around 20, and the dual zone climate control allows us to do that. The Kona, I don't have that ability. And it's actually easier to take my son Oliver in this because there's a little bit more space. My wife was, well, she was able to fit comfortably in the front seat here, whereas in the Kona, she couldn't. So that is another point. Sure, the Kona, because it's a hatch, you're able to shove everything inside it. This with the scaffolding in the back, you just can't. But I think, it's a trade-off. I think the trade-off is absolutely worth it. For basically 40,000 Canadian dollars here, this is just a great vehicle. About $1,000 and change more for the DCT, which does make it easier to live with day to day. Personally, I actually really like the DCT. You slap it into manual and you're able to control everything that you need with the paddles. And it actually shifts really well. In sport mode, it's crisp, it's fast. In normal and eco, it's actually quite restrained. It feels like a DSG, Volkswagen's great automatic kind of dual clutch, not kind of, but actual dual clutch transmission. It feels like they worked on this so much to make it just really good. And that's the best praise you can really give it. Because the regular Kona 1.6, the N line, that dual clutch, not the greatest. This feels like generations ahead. I absolutely love this car. From my standpoint, I don't see any negatives with this whatsoever. There's really nothing that I just don't like about this. Price is right, the power is good. Sure, it's a little bit less than a Civic Type R or even the GR Yaris, but I don't think it's that necessary. If you really want more power out of it, I'm sure in the aftermarket world you can tune it up. You can get more power out of these cars. And that's really it. I think this is one of the best cars I've driven this year. I absolutely love it. I'm going to enjoy this a little bit more, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.